Some Democratic lawmakers came out and reminded the troops that their duty is to the Constitution and that they could refuse unlawful orders. And Donald Trump and Fox News had a fit.
What we're seeing, actually, is recruitment rising. And people wanting to join the military under the president.
Here's an interesting fact for you, Martha. Our men and women actually are very smart, very incredible men and women in our military. And
you don't have to tell me that.
Well, apparently I do.
No, you don't, sir. I have great respect for the United States military.
Well, you don't think they can handle a reminder about federal law and the UCMJ, is what I'm hearing. And a recent survey showed that 8 out of 10 service members deeply understand their obligation of lawful orders, right? 8 out of 10. So we want to get that. That should be 10 out of 10. But this is something that they're trained on. Go and look at the training. Maybe even go and participate or observe some of the training that our men and women go through. It is incredible. We expect a lot of these men and women. They go through very intense, rigorous training because they're put in intense, rigorous positions. And frankly, I bristle at the notion that they can't handle a suggestion or a reminder of what the law requires them to do and what the Constitution requires them to do. You actually disparage them when you say that a simple reminder is something they cannot handle.
You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. I didn't disparage them in any way. In fact, I give them enormous credit.
You don't think they can handle reminders about their legal obligations?
That's Representative Jason Crow, who's in the video that caused all of this stir, telling Martha McCollum, I think you're underestimating our military. And then she goes, no, I have the deepest respect for our military. And he's like, dude, I served in the military, and I'm telling you, the people in the military are intelligent enough to know that they should refuse unlawful orders, and we're reminding them in our video. And then she comes back and kind of apologizes and ends the interview.
I have the most deep respect for everyone who serves in the military, including you, sir, for the sacrifice that you made. I did not make that sacrifice myself, so I put everyone who makes that sacrifice in a very special place in my heart. And I believe they're there to serve the country. So you have put out this video. It's getting a lot of attention. I thank you for joining me to talk about it. And I think, people can look at it and take away from it what they want. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to be specific about what illegal actions you were referring to. So thank you for being here, Congressman, and thank you again for your service.
There was probably someone in her ear going, end the interview, and she turned it around and was like, I'm very respectful of the troops because this is Fox News. You got to make sure I respect the military 100%. Even you, Mr. Congressman Crow, even you. Okay, I just wanted you to tell us why you made the video. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. And now let's look at the video.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So there's a video. It's not that harmful. It's telling troops you can refuse unlawful orders. That's what it's telling troops. And then Donald Trump came out and did a whole Truth social media post about how these people are traitors and they should be executed. It just went crazy. But here is further reason as to why these folks made this video.
The president has tried to send about 7,000 uniformed military into our streets. Law enforcement are in major cities, as you know, like Chicago and Portland. And the president has been talking about his willingness to invoke something called the Insurrection Act that would allow uniformed military to act in law enforcement roles, something that's very different in American history. That means raids, arrest, detention, something that, again, to me, very much contravenes the spirit our founding fathers put in place on the role of the military in our cities. I've put out a bill called the No Troops in Our Streets Act, and it basically says that, look, if the president is putting uniformed military out in the streets of our cities against the will of that state, Congress can vote to terminate that deployment.
And that was Elisa Slotkin, who's also in their video saying that she's putting forward this No Troops in Our Street Act because these people are all anticipating what Trump could do if he implements this Insurrection Act. That's what it is. We've already seen Trump pushing the envelope a little bit, and these people are anticipating he's going to push it further. And once again, let's bring back Congressman Crow for some more facts.
I went to war 3 times for this country. I swore many oaths to protect the Constitution, to protect this nation when I did so. And when I did that, I did it knowing that I would be called upon potentially to give my life in defense for people to say things that maybe I disagreed with. Because that is who we are. That is what generation and generation of American before us has done, has sacrificed and sometimes given their lives. So we can disagree, we can debate, we can find that path to a more perfect union. And right now we are facing an unprecedented assault against that very value.
And once again, Congressman Crow really driving it home. He served in the military for you and I to have the freedom of speech to say what we want to say and disagree with each other. Meanwhile, Donald Trump had bone spurs and didn't go nowhere, and now he's upset because these people reminded the military that you can refuse unlawful orders. Now, what are unlawful orders? Let's look at what's going on right now. Currently, Donald Trump has been flirting with this idea of putting the military into the streets. Because what happens is if they keep putting the military in these different places where he thinks that he claims there's a state of emergency, he sent them to Washington, D.C. They showed up, there wasn't that much crime. They ended up having to rake leaves and clean the parks. He sent them into Portland, where he was seeing videos from the George Floyd protests on Fox News and saying, my God, there's riots going on in Portland, so let's send the troops in. I mean, that's how out of touch this guy is. But he's using it as an excuse to send troops into these different places so that we start getting used to it. So come the midterm elections, if he decides to, for whatever reason, say we're gonna have troops now that are gonna be posted at election polling stations, and they're there really to intimidate some people who might have, a fear of this military presence. So these guys are telling the military, you guys don't need to go and do things against your own citizens just because this criminal in the White House is telling you to do that. So currently Donald Trump is using the military as his own political force. That's the problem. He's using the Department of Justice as his own political force. He's using the Federal Communications Commission, all of the government that's in his control. Usually a lot of these different entities are supposed to be independent, but for him, he's made them loyalists. And what we're looking at right now is a situation where we have a dictator in the making. He's already there, but he's being made even more. And that's why these members of Congress and the Senate came out and made this video to remind these people in the military who are there doing the work that's supposed to help Americans and helps Americans, helps us, maintain our country as it is with security and when there's emergencies and all that stuff. They're reminding these guys, look, if this bozo in the White House tells you to show up during the elections and intimidate people, you can refuse that order. If this bozo tells you to go in the streets and start shooting at your fellow citizens, you can refuse that order. And if you think he wouldn't tell people to shoot at fellow citizens, don't forget during the George Floyd protest, he famously told Mark Esper, who was his Secretary of Defense, that I'd like to shoot at some of these protesters. And they told him, sir, you can't do that. You can't do that. And yet we're in a situation where we've got this president who is unhinged, who is just, mad with power, who then is upset that how dare these senators and these Congress members, how dare they speak their mind democratically and put a video out reminding our troops that their loyalty is to the Constitution, not to Donald Trump. And so because of that, he did a social media post which basically said that these guys are traitors and that George Washington would hang them and perhaps they should be tried. I mean, it's really, really sick. It's really, really sick. And then you've got the people on Fox News saying how this is unpatriotic. How dare you guys do this? Well, no, it's actually the most patriotic thing to do. It's the most patriotic thing to do, to go out and say, hey, you members of the military, we respect you, we appreciate you. And then the people in that video are all people who served in the military or in some sort of service for the government, intelligence and the sort. And they're saying, no, we respect you. We were there. We were where you are. And we know that it's hard sometimes. You think, oh my God, I have to go out in the streets and hold a gun against my fellow citizen and maybe intimidate or physically do something to my fellow citizen. They're saying you don't have to do that because this is not a dictatorship. This is not some sort of banana republic where, the El Jefe tells you what to do and you got to do it. No, in this country, we have rules and we have laws and we are loyal to the Constitution. That's the whole point of this video. So for anyone who's seeing the video and going, oh my God, this is an act of insurrection or this is traitors or whatever. No, it's not. It's the most American thing to do, to remind your military that you have a mind of your own. Yes, there are certain rules that you have to follow in the military, but if somebody comes to you in the military and gives you an unlawful order, you should refuse it. And that's what they said, very plain and simple. And now the people on the right are having a fit. They're losing their minds. Like I said, Donald Trump is saying that these guys should be executed, which is, are we living in America? What country is this? Russia? Where are we living? Where are we living? And what about this lady on Fox that was challenging this congressman? What reality is she living in? She's living in a reality where she has to put on a facade and say, oh, I love the troops, we support the troops. How dare you tell the troops to be loyal to the Constitution? That's the reality we're living in. That there's a whole media environment right now, and there's a whole group of people who are arguing that the troops should have loyalty to Donald Trump. That's what they're arguing. Ultimately, that's what they're arguing. Don't question his orders, just follow his orders, no matter how unlawful they are. He's gonna throw you into some city without crime and tell you there's crime and lie about it and have you hang out there. A lot of these people that are reserves that are in these different cities are going, what am I doing here? I was supposed to go and help when there's when there's some sort of natural disaster. I'm not supposed to show up in these cities and just help ICE arrest and detain people. That's kind of what they're doing. They're saying, why don't you show up and back up ICE, right? This is what it's about. It's to help deport more people. It's to intimidate people. It's to intimidate people from voting. There's a lot going on. And really, again, this is all a practice for what Donald Trump is going to want to implement come midterm elections, come the next presidential elections. He's going to want to implement this thing in the streets where he sends troops and he declares martial law. Martial law because he makes up an excuse, some excuse. They tried to steal the election, martial law. Troops are in the streets and people aren't going to vote. And who's going to win? His party's going to win because he's going to try and game the system. This man is desperate for power. And here they are, these members of Congress who are just doing a very democratic thing by saying, you should stand for the Constitution. And people should, if you're American, you should agree with that. That's it. But Fox News doesn't agree with it. Some people on the right don't agree with it. But you know what? Too bad. This is the American way. The American way is for the Constitution. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a page right here on YouTube at Maz Jobrani. Give it a follow. Also, come see me live. I'm touring all over the country. Come see me live. Go to mazjobrani.com. I'll see you there. It's your right to come to a comedy show. Bye.